Fast supercars are not something I'm a huge fan of, I'm not afraid to admit. Yes, on a racetrack they would definitely be my weapon of choice, but out in the real world, 500 horsepower or more is outright unnecessary if you ask me. Yes, my auto journalist colleagues would point their fingers and have a great laugh at me. But for someone who couldn't care less, I'd rather be out on my own in a much smaller car with a feisty motor with just enough oomph to put a wide enough smile on my face. That is where the brand new AMG A35 comes in. Essentially, they borrowed half the amount of chilies from the AMG division and shoved it up the exhaust pipes of the regular A-Class. It may not be the outright AMG like the A45 as the purists would like, but it might just be the right recipe for what is usable every day, especially for the conditions of roads in India. The engine in the A35 is more recognizable as the A250 engine rather than the turbo 4-pod from the A45 AMG. But this 2-litre unit is tuned to churn out 306 horsepower and 400 Nm of torque. Now that much power in a package this size is definitely a riot. The response from the engine is good, but could have been a touch more immediate. However, shifts from the 7-speed DCT are quick. Stick it into Sport Plus and off you go. Mercedes claims that the A35 AMG will do 0 to 100 in just 4.8 seconds. The turbocharged engine offers good grunt and good torque low down as well. You can feel the pull easily when you put your foot down. The A35 uses the 7-speed speed shift DCT, which has also been tuned by AMG. The shifts are quicker than the regular model and the kickdown is quite immediate when you step on the throttle. The shifts are smooth and is nearly always in correct gear, but occasionally you can catch it off guard. The front biased all-wheel drive does its job when you need it to keep you in check should you get out of shape, but it isn't very intrusive when you want to have a little bit of fun. Engine sound, however, isn't all that great. It seems heavily diluted. This is due to the European noise regulations, but thankfully, the Burmester sound system is brilliant. The steering rack is a different unit compared to the standard car, which is why it feels more direct and it is miles ahead of what the standard car has to offer. It weighs up very well at higher speeds, but however, feedback from it is not as sharp. So being precise through the corners when you're leaning on the tires, it could have been just a touch better. Which on the A35 are special 18-inch AMG design wheels. The A35, its suspension is definitely firmer than the standard car, but I'm sure it has more give than the A45. Now the way it is sprung is quite taut. It keeps you flat through the corners, but it's forgiving enough to keep you happy on a regular basis. Having said that, the car does ride quite low, so you have to be terribly careful negotiating giant speed breakers. The brakes are sharp and have good bite in them, as you would expect. Pedal feedback is good and you get the confidence when you're pushing through the bends. The cabin itself is similar to the one on the regular A-Class, but it is finished in all black with red contrast stitching and a few other touches to make you feel a little more special from behind the wheel. On the outside, the styling is in line with the modern AMGs. You get an aggressive front bumper, a wide twin-slide front AMG grille, LED lighting all around, sporty and genuine exhaust pipes at the back, and a low hunkered down stance, all of which accumulate to a feisty, sporty little sedan. Till recently, you could either have a regular model or you could choose the hairy-chested AMG performance cars. But for those few people in markets like India that wanted a little more performance but none of those fiscal or ride comfort sacrifices, emerging markets needed a middleman. That's where these mid-spec performance models come in to fill in the gap, which is exactly what the A35 does to the A-Class, slotting in between the regular car and the A45 AMG. The Mercedes-AMG A35 has been launched in India for Rs 56.2 lakh ex-showroom. For that price, you can afford a decent house in Noida, but then again, you'd have to be living in Noida. So I'd recommend buying this and living in this instead. Now, jokes apart, for that money, you could graduate to the C-Class. If you're going to be predominantly chauffeur-driven, that would be the obvious choice. But if you were to drive the car every day yourself, the A35 might be better value, as not only do you get all the latest tech, you're also provided with the exhilarating driving experience which the standard model does not offer. Furthermore, unlike the AMG model, the A35 runs on regular octane fuel, so that makes it easier to live even more. The deal is further sweetened by the industry-best 8-year warranty. Additionally, it will be the second AMG to be assembled in India. Although I do wish that the A-Class, which is being targeted towards a younger demographic, came with a wider palette of color options. You can either have 50 shades of grey or just 2 color options of denim blue and sun yellow. Apart from the car riding a little too low for our roads in my opinion, finding excuses against the A35 AMG has turned out to be quite a task.